The massive space station called Concordia Prime floated in the dark between stars. Its silver walls stretched for miles in every direction. Inside its biggest meeting room, representatives from dozens of alien species sat around a circular table that glowed with soft blue light. Ambassador Zethkari of the Veltar hegemony stood at the center of the room. His forearms moved nervously as he spoke. His purple skin had turned darker, which meant he was worried. Very worried. "Fellow council members," he began, his voice carrying to every corner of the room through the translation devices. "We face something that has never happened before in our 300 years of galactic diplomacy." The other aliens in the room shifted in their seats. The crystalline HFY made soft ringing sounds. The floating gas beings called Aetheri hummed with concern. Even the massive rock-like Storks leaned forward, their boulder-sized heads turning toward Zethkari. 6 months ago, our deep space sensors detected a new species. They call themselves humans. They live on a blue and green planet they call Earth, in a system they call Sol. Like all newly discovered species, we began the standard first contact procedures. Zethkari pressed a button, and holographic images appeared above the table. The images showed a small blue planet, with white clouds swirling around it. Cities with lights twinkled on the dark side of the world. The humans had just developed faster than light communication, Zethkari continued. This is always the sign that a species is ready to join the galactic community. So, we sent our first diplomatic probe. The hologram changed to show a sleek silver spacecraft approaching the human solar system. Then the image shifted to show the same spacecraft exploding in a bright flash of light. "They destroyed it," Zethkari said quietly. "Without warning. Without trying to communicate first." Murmurs filled the room. The Veltar had been the first species to join the Galactic Council 3 centuries ago. Since then, every newly discovered species had welcomed contact within days or weeks. It was the natural order of things. Council leader Yothram, an ancient being whose species looked like walking trees, spoke in a voice like rustling leaves. Perhaps they did not understand what the probe was. "Fear of the unknown is common among young species." "That is what we thought too," Zethkari replied. "So we sent a second probe. This one broadcast peaceful messages in mathematical language that any intelligent species should understand. We showed them pictures of our various species. We played music from our worlds. We offered gifts of knowledge and friendship." The hologram showed another spacecraft approaching Earth. This time, human ships rose to meet it. The human vessels were crude-looking, made of metal, and moving with simple rocket engines. But they worked together like a pack of hunters, surrounding the diplomatic probe. "They captured this one," Zethkari said. "Our sensors showed them taking it apart, piece by piece, studying every component, learning our technology." "Still," said Dr. Yilmoth, the Council's chief xenopsychologist, "this could be normal caution. Some species need time to understand that we come in peace." Zethkari's skin turned even darker purple. "We have tried 17 times, honored colleagues. 17 different approaches. We sent bigger ships with more obvious peaceful signs. We sent smaller ones that could not possibly be threats. We tried every form of communication we know. Mathematical sequences, universal symbols, even basic pictures." The hologram now showed a timeline of failed contact attempts. Ship after ship approached the human system. Some were destroyed. Others were captured. A few were simply ignored, forced to turn back when human military vessels surrounded them. "But here is what troubles us most," Zethkari continued. "Look at this." The image changed to show the space around Earth. What they saw made several council members gasp. The primitive human system from 6 months ago was gone. In its place was a fortress. Massive weapons platforms orbited Earth like steel moons. Shipyards built new vessels at an impossible speed. Defense grids covered every approach to the inner planets. The humans had turned their entire solar system into a military base. "This level of militarization should take decades," said Admiral Krixtall, the Council's military advisor. His insect-like head clicked with concern. The humans have done it in 6 months. How is this possible? We believe they are using our own technology against us, Zethkari admitted. Every probe they captured, every piece of our equipment they studied. They have somehow improved upon our designs and built weapons we do not recognize. The room fell silent. In 300 years of expanding across the galaxy, the Council had never faced rejection. Every species they contacted eventually joined them. It was simply how the galaxy worked. Advanced species helped younger ones. Everyone benefited. Everyone joined willingly. Council leader Yothram's ancient voice filled the silence. What do our xenopsychology experts believe? Why would any species reject the benefits of galactic civilization? Dr. Yilmoth stood up. His tall, thin frame swayed like grass in the wind. We have very little data to work with. But I have developed several theories. Perhaps humans are naturally xenophobic. Perhaps they fear losing their independence. Perhaps they have had bad experiences with other species in the past. Or perhaps, suggested Ambassador Velnara of the Aquatic Depths High, they simply do not understand what we are offering. The benefits of council membership, the protection, the knowledge, the trade opportunities. Zethkari shook his head. We have broadcast detailed explanations of council benefits. We have shown them our peaceful intentions in every way possible. They respond to none of it. Instead, they build more weapons and train more soldiers. Have they tried to communicate with us at all? Asked the Aetheri representative, its gaseous form shimmering with curiosity. Never, Zethkari replied. Not once. They shoot first and ask no questions. They treat every approach as an attack, every gesture of friendship as a threat. The council members looked at each other with growing concern. Some whispered among themselves in their native languages. Others sat in thoughtful silence. What do you recommend, Ambassador Zethkari? Council leader Yothram asked finally. I believe we need to try a different approach, Zethkari said. Perhaps a show of strength. Not to threaten them, but to demonstrate that we are not weak, that we deserve their respect. Maybe then they will be willing to talk. You want to send warships? Admiral Crixtal asked, his mandibles clicking rapidly. Diplomatic ships, Zethkari corrected. But more of them. A full delegation that cannot be ignored or easily destroyed. Something that shows the true scope and power of galactic civilization. The debate continued for hours. Some council members worried about seeming aggressive. Others feared that humans might be more dangerous than they appeared. But in the end, they reached a decision. The Galactic Council would send the largest diplomatic mission in their history to Earth. 50 ships representing 12 different species. They would position themselves at the edge of human space and broadcast an ultimatum. Talk to us, or we will assume you are hostile to galactic peace. As the council session ended and the various species departed for their ships, none of them noticed the worried expression on Dr. Yilmoth's face. The xenopsychologist had not shared all of his theories about human behavior. Some thoughts were too dangerous to voice in an open council session. Deep in his mind, Dr. Yilmoth wondered if the humans were not afraid of the Galactic Council at all. Perhaps they were preparing for war because they knew something the Council did not want to admit. Perhaps the humans had figured out what the Galactic Council really was. 3 months had passed since the Galactic Council's emergency meeting. The situation with the humans had not improved. In fact, it had gotten much worse. Admiral Crixtal stood in the command center of the diplomatic flagship Harmony's Voice. Through the massive viewing windows, he could see 49 other council vessels spread out in perfect formation. Each ship represented a different member species of the galaxy. Together, they formed the largest peaceful delegation in council history. Status report, Crixtal ordered, his insect-like mandibles clicking with nervous energy. We are holding position at the edge of human space, sir, reported Communications Officer Zintel, broadcasting on all frequencies in 17 different languages, mathematical sequences, pictographic messages, and standard diplomatic protocols. Any response from the humans? None, sir. Complete radio silence for the past 6 days. Crixtal's 4 eyes focused on the tactical display. The human solar system looked different than it had 3 months ago. Much different. Where once there had been weapons platforms around Earth, now there were massive orbital fortresses. The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter had been turned into a minefield. Every moon in the system bristled with defensive installations. "Sir," called out sensor operator Velquin, "we're detecting new human activity." "Show me." The main display shifted to show the inner system. Dozens of human ships were moving into formation. They were larger than the vessels seen in previous encounters, and their energy signatures were completely unknown. "Analysis?" Crixtal asked. "Unknown technology, sir. The power readings are impossible. These ships are generating more energy than some of our heavy cruisers, but they're half the size." Crixtal felt a chill run through his exoskeleton. "Are they moving toward us?" "No, sir. They appear to be taking defensive positions throughout their system." "But sir..." "What? These aren't the only ships. Our long-range sensors are detecting movement in the outer planets. Jupiter, Saturn, even the dwarf planets beyond. The humans have ships everywhere." Ambassador Zethkari entered the command center, his purple skin pale with worry. "Admiral, have the humans responded to our diplomatic messages?" "Nothing, Ambassador. 6 days of broadcasting, and they haven't even acknowledged our presence. Then we must try something stronger." Zethkari activated his personal communicator. "All ships. This is Ambassador Zethkari. Begin broadcast Protocol 7. Protocol 7 was reserved for stubborn species." Instead of gentle messages of friendship, the Council ships began broadcasting their credentials. They listed every member species. They described the size and scope of galactic civilization. They explained the benefits of membership and the consequences of isolation. The message was clear. "You are alone. We are many. Join us willingly, or remain forever cut off from the galaxy." For 12 hours, the Council fleet broadcast this message. Then, finally, they received a response. It came not as a radio transmission, but as action. Human ships began moving. "Sir," sensor operator Velquin's voice cracked with panic. "Multiple human vessels are approaching our position. Speed is..." "Admiral, these ships are moving faster than anything in our database." "How many ships?" "I count 15. No. 20. Sir. They keep appearing on sensors. It's like they were hiding somehow." Crixtal studied the tactical display. The human ships moved with impossible precision. They used flight patterns that should have torn apart any normal spacecraft, but they held together perfectly. "Open a channel," Crixtal ordered. "Maybe now they want to talk." "Channel open, sir. This is Admiral Crixtal of the Galactic Council Diplomatic Fleet. We come in peace. Please respond." The only answer was weapons fire. The human ships opened fire with weapons the Council had never seen before. Bright beams of energy lanced across space, striking 3 Council vessels, but instead of destroying them, the weapons seemed designed to disable. The targeted ships lost power but remained intact. "Evasive maneuvers," Crixtal shouted. "All ships, prepare for emergency jump to hyperspace." But something was wrong. The hyperspace drives weren't responding. "Sir," reported the engineering officer, "we're being jammed. Some kind of field is preventing hyperspace activation." "That's impossible. Hyperspace jamming technology doesn't exist." "It does now, sir." The human ships continued their attack. One by one, Council vessels lost power and began drifting helplessly in space. The humans were surgical in their precision. They targeted engines, power systems, and weapons, but avoided hitting life support or crew quarters. Within an hour, the entire Council fleet was disabled. Then the humans did something unexpected. Instead of destroying the helpless ships, they began boarding them. Admiral Crixtal watched in amazement as human soldiers entered his ship. They wore advanced armor that seemed to shimmer and change color. Their weapons were compact, but obviously powerful. But most surprising of all, they moved like they had been planning this exact scenario for months. The boarding party's leader removed her helmet, revealing a human face. She had dark skin, short black hair, and eyes that seemed to see everything at once. "Admiral Krixtal," she said, speaking perfect Veltar language. "I am Colonel Sarah Rodriguez of the United Earth Defense Force. You and your crews are now prisoners of war." "Prisoners of war?" Krixtal sputtered. "This is a diplomatic mission. We came in peace." "No, you didn't." Colonel Rodriguez pulled out a small device and activated it. Holographic images appeared in the air between them. "These are recordings from your own ship's computers. Your diplomatic protocols include detailed invasion plans, contingency strategies for dealing with resistant species, instructions for orbital bombardment of population centers." Krixtal stared at the images in shock. "How did you access our secure systems?" "The same way we've been accessing all your systems for the past 6 months," Rodriguez replied calmly. "Every probe you sent us, every diplomatic ship, every piece of technology you've shared with other species. We've been studying you, Admiral, learning how you really operate." "I don't understand." Rodriguez gestured to her soldiers, who began downloading data from the ship's computers. "Your Galactic Council has contacted 847 species in the past 1,000 years. Every single one of them joined your council. Every single one. Do you know what the odds of that are? Mathematically speaking?" Krixtal remained silent. "Zero." Rodriguez continued. "The odds are zero. Unless joining isn't really voluntary. Unless species that refuse simply disappear from your records. That's not. We've been monitoring your communications, Admiral. We know about the pacification fleets. We know about the economic blockades. We know what happens to species that say no to your generous offers of membership." Rodriguez activated another hologram. This one showed a star map, with thousands of systems marked in different colors. Red markers are species that joined the Council in the first year of contact. Yellow markers joined within 5 years. Green markers took longer than 5 years. She paused. "Notice anything?" Krixtal looked at the map. There were no green markers. None at all. Every species joins quickly, or they disappear from the records entirely. There are no holdouts. No independent systems in Council space. No one who ever successfully said no to your diplomacy. "The humans are different," Krixtal said quietly. "Yes, we are." Rodriguez smiled, but it wasn't a friendly expression. "We're the first species that saw through your peaceful facade before it was too late. We've been preparing for this moment since your first probe entered our system." She gestured to the disabled Council fleet, visible through the ship's windows. "This was never a diplomatic mission, Admiral. This was the prelude to invasion. The show of force that comes before you make your final offer. Join us or be destroyed." Rodriguez turned to leave, then paused. "Oh. And, Admiral? The next time you plan an invasion, you might want to use better encryption on your communications. Humans are very good at reading other people's mail." As the human soldiers led the Council crews to holding areas, Krixtal realized with growing horror that everything Rodriguez had said was true. The Galactic Council didn't seek members, it collected subjects. Every diplomatic mission was really a reconnaissance mission. Every peaceful contact was preparation for conquest. The humans had figured it out, and unlike the 847 species before them, the humans had decided to fight back. Looking out at the human ships surrounding his fleet, Admiral Krixtal understood that the age of easy conquest was over. Humanity had just changed the rules of the galaxy, and the Galactic Council was about to learn what it felt like to be on the losing side. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was unlike any in their 300-year history. Half the representatives attended by hologram, as their ships were either captured or destroyed. The other half sat in the great chamber aboard Concordia Prime, their faces showing fear, anger, and confusion. Council leader Yothram's ancient tree-like form creaked as he spoke. "The situation has become intolerable. Our largest diplomatic mission in history has been humiliated. Our ships captured, our crews imprisoned. The humans have crossed every line of civilized behavior." Ambassador Zeth Kari, attending by hologram from his prison cell aboard a human vessel, looked tired and defeated. His purple skin had turned almost gray. Honored Council Leader, I must report that the humans know far more about us than we ever suspected. They have somehow accessed our deepest archives. They know about operations that were classified above my security level. What kind of operations? Asked Admiral Krixtall, also appearing by hologram from his own prison. Pacification campaigns, economic warfare. The real history of how species joined the Council. Zethkari paused. They know everything. A murmur of concern rippled through the chamber. These were secrets that even most Council members didn't know. The true methods by which the galaxy had been unified under Council rule. Dr. Yilmoth, the xenopsychologist, stood up from his physical seat in the chamber. I warned the Council months ago that humans might be different. I believe they represent something we have never encountered before. A species that is both intelligent enough to see through our methods and strong enough to resist them. Resist? General Thaxmore of the Grex Mori military caste slammed his armored fist on the table. They have captured 50 of our finest ships and hundreds of our personnel. This is not resistance. This is war. Council Leader Yothram's leaves rustled with concern. General, we must be careful. The humans have shown they possess advanced technology. Technology that somehow exceeds our own in several areas. We cannot simply attack them. With respect, Council Leader, General Thaxmore replied, that is exactly what we must do. We cannot allow this precedent to stand. If other species see that the humans successfully defied us, it could encourage rebellion throughout the galaxy. The room fell silent. This was the fear that every council member shared, but few spoke aloud. For 300 years, the galaxy had been unified under their rule. Every species paid tribute, followed council laws, and accepted council governors. The system worked because no one had ever successfully opposed it. Now the humans had not just opposed the council, but humiliated them. Ambassador Velnara, of the Aquatic Depths High, spoke from her water-filled chamber. What do our intelligence services report about human capabilities? Dr. Yilmoth activated a holographic display. The analysis is disturbing. In 6 months, humans have somehow reverse-engineered technology that took us centuries to develop. They have improved upon our designs and created weapons we cannot identify. Most concerning of all, they seem to have unified their entire species for war in a time frame that should be impossible. How is that possible? Asked the Aethery representative. We believe humans may process information and adapt to new situations faster than any species we have encountered. Their learning curve is unprecedented. General Thaxmore leaned forward. What are you saying? Doctor, I am saying that every day we wait, the humans become more dangerous. 6 months ago, they were a primitive species with basic rocket technology. Today, they have weapons that can disable our most advanced ships. In another 6 months, he didn't need to finish the sentence. Everyone in the room understood. Council Leader Yothram made the decision that would change galactic history. General Thaxmore, you are authorized to assemble a battle fleet. We will give the humans one final chance to surrender. If they refuse, we will use whatever force is necessary to bring them into compliance. How large a fleet, Council Leader? Whatever it takes. Strip ships from every sector if you must. The humans must not be allowed to succeed. 3 weeks later, the largest military fleet in galactic history assembled at the edge of human space. 500 warships from 20 different species formed attack formations that stretched across thousands of miles. The combined firepower could sterilize entire planets. General Thaxmore stood on the bridge of his flagship, the mighty dreadnought Inevitable Victory. Around him, his staff prepared for what should be the shortest war in galactic history. Communications, open a channel to the human system. Channel open, General. This is General Thaxmore of the Galactic Council Defense Force. You have held our diplomatic personnel prisoner for 3 weeks. You have refused all attempts at peaceful communication. You have exactly 1 hour to release our people and surrender unconditionally. If you refuse, we will consider your entire system a hostile military target. The response came quickly, but not from Earth. Instead, it came from everywhere at once. Human ships materialized around the Council fleet like ghosts becoming solid. They appeared from behind asteroids, from within gas clouds, from positions that should have been empty space. The humans had somehow hidden an entire fleet in perfect stealth. But these were not the same human ships the Council had faced before. These vessels were larger, more advanced, and completely unknown in design. They moved with impossible grace, their hulls seeming to bend light around them. "General," called the sensor operator. I count over 800 human vessels. Sir, where did they all come from?" "That's impossible. Our intelligence report said humans had less than 200 ships." "Intelligence was wrong, sir. The human fleet moved into attack formation with mechanical precision. Every ship knew exactly where to go, exactly what to do. It was like watching a single organism with 1,000 parts. Then the humans opened fire. The weapons they used defied every law of physics the Council understood. Energy beams that seemed to phase in and out of reality. Projectiles that teleported past shield systems. Missiles that split into dozens of smaller missiles, each one finding a different target. But most terrifying of all, the human weapons seemed designed specifically to counter Council technology. Every shield frequency, every armor type, every defensive system the Council used had been studied and defeated. "Sir," the tactical officer shouted over the sound of alarms. "They're not trying to destroy us. They're targeting specific systems. Engines, weapons, life support controls. It's like they want to capture the fleet intact." General Thaxmore watched in horror as his mighty fleet was systematically dismantled. Ship after ship lost power and began drifting helplessly. The humans moved between them like surgeons, precise and unstoppable. In less than 2 hours, it was over. 500 Council warships floated dead in space. Not destroyed, but completely disabled. The humans had fought the largest military engagement in galactic history without killing a single enemy. As human boarding parties began taking control of Council vessels, General Thaxmore received a transmission on his personal communicator. The message was simple, but carried the weight of galactic revolution. "General Thaxmore, this is Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Coalition. You and your fleet are now prisoners of the Human Republic. Your crews will be treated according to the laws of war. Your ships will be studied and returned when this conflict ends." "Conflict?" Thaxmore gasped. "We brought 500 ships." "Yes, and we brought 800. General, did you really think we spent 6 months building defenses around one solar system? We've been preparing for this war across dozens of systems. Every asteroid belt, every gas giant, every piece of space debris you ignored has been turned into a weapon." The transmission continued. "The age of Council expansion is over, General. From this moment forward, any species that wants freedom can find it under human protection. We're not your enemies unless you try to make us your slaves." As human soldiers entered his bridge, General Thaxmore realized that everything had changed. The humans hadn't just won a battle. They had won the war before it even started. The galaxy would never be the same. For 300 years, the Galactic Council had expanded through a simple strategy: appear weak, offer friendship, then reveal strength only when resistance was impossible. It had worked against every species they had encountered. The humans had turned that strategy inside out. They had appeared weak while building strength in secret. They had let the Council commit its forces to battles it couldn't win. And now, with 2 massive fleets captured, the Council's military power was broken. As General Thaxmore was led to a holding cell, he wondered how many other species had dreamed of fighting back but never had the chance. How many had wanted to say no but couldn't stand alone against the galaxy? They wouldn't have to stand alone anymore. The humans had just offered them a choice the Council never had: freedom. The transmission came exactly 72 hours after the human victory. Every Council facility, every member world, every communication network in the galaxy received the same message at the same time. The humans had somehow gained access to the entire galactic communication grid. The message was simple: the Galactic Council will gather for an emergency session. Attendance is not optional. We have things to discuss. Council leader Yothram sat in the great chamber aboard Concordia Prime. Around him, the representatives of dozens of species waited nervously, many attended by hologram, afraid to travel while human ships patrolled the space lanes. Others sat in physical attendance. But their faces showed the strain of recent events. The humans had kept their promise about treating prisoners well. The crews of nearly 600 captured ships had been fed, housed, and given medical care. But they remained prisoners. More importantly, their ships remained in human hands, being studied and reverse-engineered. "Council leader," whispered Dr. Yilmoth. "Our communications are being monitored. The humans are listening to everything we say." Arkented. "Our communications are listening to everything we say." Before Yothram could respond, the chamber's main display activated. A human face appeared on the screen. She was a woman with short gray hair, steady blue eyes, and an expression of complete confidence. "Members of the Galactic Council," she began. "I am Admiral Sarah Chen, speaking for the United Earth Defense Coalition. Thank you for accepting our invitation to this meeting." "Invitation?" sputtered Ambassador Velnara. "You forced us to attend." Admiral Chen smiled slightly. "Yes, we did. Just as you have forced 847 species to attend your meetings over the past 1,000 years. The only difference is that we're being honest about it." The chamber erupted in protests and denials, but Admiral Chen continued speaking. Her voice carried over the noise with calm authority. "For the past 6 months, while you believed we were simply being stubborn, we have been conducting the most thorough investigation in galactic history. We have analyzed every piece of technology you sent us. We have decoded your communication networks. We have accessed your historical archives." "Impossible," declared General Thaxmore, attending by hologram from his prison. "Our security systems are written by species that joined your council an average of 300 years ago," Admiral Chen interrupted. "Technology evolves. General, you've been using the same security protocols for centuries. They were never designed to stop a species that developed quantum computing in 6 months. She gestured, and the chamber's display changed to show a vast star map. Thousands of systems were marked with different colored symbols. This is the real map of your galactic expansion. Every species you've contacted is marked here. Notice the pattern?" The council members stared at the display. The pattern was clear, but it was not what they expected to see. "Every species joins within 5 years of first contact," Admiral Chen continued. "Every single one. But here's what's interesting. When we dug deeper into your archives, we found references to many more species that don't appear on your current maps." The display changed again. New markers appeared, showing star systems that were now empty or marked as uninhabitable. These are the systems where species used to live. Species that no longer exist in your records. Would you like to know what happened to them? Council leader Yothram's ancient voice cracked as he spoke. Those systems were destroyed by natural disasters, stellar events, planetary catastrophes. All of them? Admiral Chen asked. 237 different systems, all destroyed by natural disasters, all coincidentally within 10 years of refusing to join your council? She activated another display. This time, it showed council military reports that were supposed to be classified above top secret level. Operation Cleansing Wind. The sterilization of the Kethmori homeworld after they refused council membership for 12 years. Operation Gentle Rain. The biological weapon deployed against the Yithkal colonies when economic sanctions failed to force compliance. Operation Final Argument. The artificial nova that destroyed the entire Zexhai system when they attempted to form an anti-council alliance. The chamber fell completely silent. These were secrets that only the highest levels of council leadership were supposed to know. Admiral Chen's voice remained calm, almost conversational. Should I continue? We have records of 47 pacification operations where entire species were eliminated for refusing to join your galactic community. We also have economic warfare campaigns against 63 other species, all of whom eventually joined the council rather than face starvation. Dr. Yilmoth stood up shakily. How could you possibly have access to those files? Because we've been inside your computer systems since your first probe entered our space, Doctor. Did you really think we just destroyed them randomly? We let you think we were afraid while we downloaded everything you had. Admiral Chen leaned forward, and for the first time, her expression showed anger. Your Galactic Council is the largest empire in the history of the galaxy. You don't seek members, you collect slaves. You offer friendship with one hand while holding a knife behind your back with the other. Every species in this chamber sits here because they had no choice. That's not true, protested Ambassador Zethkari. The Council brings peace, order, prosperity, at the cost of freedom, Admiral Chen replied. Every species that joins your council surrenders planetary sovereignty. You install council governors on their worlds. You control their military forces. You dictate their laws, their trade, their futures. She gestured again, and the display showed council governance documents. Here are the real terms of council membership. Section 47. All member species will maintain military forces only as approved by council authority. Section 62. Planetary governments serve at the pleasure of appointed council administrators. Section 91. Council law supersedes all local law in cases of conflict. Number 2. Admiral Chen stood up from her chair. Behind her, other humans could be seen in what appeared to be a military command center. You call it diplomacy, but it's conquest with better marketing. You call it membership, but it's slavery with benefits. You call it civilization, but it's the largest protection racket in galactic history. What do you want from us? Council Leader Yothram asked quietly. Nothing, Admiral Chen replied, and the simplicity of her answer shocked everyone in the chamber. We don't want to join your empire. We don't want to rule it. We don't want to destroy it. We simply want you to leave us alone. And if we refuse? Admiral Chen's smile was not pleasant. Then you'll learn what happens when someone refuses to leave humanity alone. We've had 6 months to study your technology, your tactics, your weaknesses. We've built ships you can't detect, weapons you can't stop, and defenses you can't break. She activated one final display. This time it showed human ships positioned throughout the galaxy. Not dozens of ships. Not hundreds. Thousands. While you thought we were hiding in our solar system, we were spreading across the galaxy. Every uninhabited system, every asteroid field, every piece of space you considered worthless, has become a human outpost. We're not trapped in one system anymore, Council Leader. We're everywhere. The implications hit the Council members like a physical blow. In 6 months, while they had been trying to contact one human world, humanity had somehow established a presence throughout the galaxy. This is impossible, General Thaxmore whispered. No species can expand that quickly. No species you've encountered before, Admiral Chen corrected. But then, you've only encountered species after they developed faster than light communication. You've never dealt with a species that developed that technology specifically to avoid you. She paused to let that sink in. We've been listening to your radio transmissions for over 50 years, Council Leader. We knew about your empire long before you knew about us. When we finally developed FTL communication, it wasn't to explore the galaxy. It was to make sure we were ready when you came calling. Admiral Chen moved closer to the camera, and her voice became deadly serious. Humanity spent 50 years preparing for this moment. We studied every species you conquered. We analyzed every tactic you used. We learned from every mistake your victims made. When your first probe entered our system, we already knew exactly who you were and what you wanted. And what happens now? Asked Dr. Yilmoth. Now you have a choice, Admiral Chen replied. You can continue operating as you always have, ruling the species that choose to remain under your control. But you will not expand further. You will not threaten independent systems. And you will not interfere with species that choose freedom over security. She gestured to something off camera, and the display showed a new star map. This one was divided into 2 colors, red for council space, and blue for what was labeled free systems. Any species that wants to leave your empire can do so under human protection. Any species that chooses to stay can remain. But the age of forced membership is over. Admiral Chen stepped back from the camera. You have 48 hours to broadcast this offer to every member species in your empire. After that, we'll broadcast it ourselves. And Council Leader? Yes? Don't try to stop us. We've been preparing for this conversation for 50 years. We're ready for whatever comes next." The transmission ended, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence. For the first time in 300 years, someone had said no to the Galactic Council and made it stick. More than that, they had revealed the Council's true nature to the entire galaxy. As Council Leader Yothram looked around the chamber at the faces of his fellow representatives, he realized that everything had changed. The age of expansion was over. The age of easy conquest had ended. Humanity had just given every species in the galaxy something the Council never had: a choice. 6 months had passed since Admiral Chen's revelation to the Galactic Council. The galaxy had never been quieter, yet never been more active. Council Leader Yothram stood alone in his private chambers aboard Concordia Prime, looking out at a view that told the story of galactic revolution. Where once hundreds of ships from member species had filled the space around the station, now only a few dozen remained. The great symbol of galactic unity had become a nearly empty shell. His communications console chimed with an incoming message. Another species requesting withdrawal from council membership. The 43rd this month, Dr. Yilmoth entered the chamber without waiting for permission. The xenopsychologist looked older, more tired than his species normally appeared. "The Velkari Collective has officially announced their withdrawal," he reported. "They're the largest industrial power in the eastern sectors. With them gone, we've lost 60% of our manufacturing capacity." Yothram's leaves rustled with exhaustion. "How many does that make?" 218 species have withdrawn from council membership. Another 112 have requested temporary autonomous statuses pending review of their original membership agreements. And how many have declared for the Human Republic? 87 species have formally requested human protection. 15 have been granted full membership in what humans call the Free Systems Alliance. The rest are under human defense guarantees while they establish independent governments. Yothram turned away from the window. Outside, a convoy of transport ships was leaving the station. Another group of council staff members abandoning their posts to seek new lives in human space. "What is the current status of our military?" "Effectively non-existent, Doctor," Yilmoth admitted. "The humans returned our captured ships, but most of our crews have resigned. General Thaxmore estimates we have maybe 50 operational vessels remaining, and those are mostly patrol craft. And the humans? According to our intelligence, they now have active defense agreements with over 300 systems. Their fleet has grown to an estimated 15,000 ships of unknown capability." Yothram sat heavily in his chair. 15,000 ships in 6 months. How is that possible? "The same way they accomplished everything else, Council Leader. They had help." Quote, Dr. Yilmoth activated a holographic display. It showed industrial complexes spread across dozens of systems. Every species that has joined the Free Systems Alliance has contributed to human shipbuilding efforts. The Velkari provided manufacturing expertise. The crystalline HFY contributed advanced materials. The Aetheri shared their energy distribution technology. "They're building an empire of their own," Yothram observed. "No, sir, they're not, Doctor." Yilmoth changed the display to show the human government structure. "Every species in the Alliance maintains complete internal sovereignty. Humans provide defense coordination and technological sharing, but they don't govern other species. Then how do they maintain control? They don't. That's the point. Alliance members stay because they want to, not because they have to." The irony was not lost on either of them. For 300 years, the Council had maintained unity through fear and force. The humans maintained a larger alliance through freedom and mutual benefit. A new transmission alert sounded. This one was marked with human encryption codes. "Another message from Admiral Chen?" Yothram asked. "Yes, sir. The weekly diplomatic contact." Despite everything that had happened, Admiral Chen had maintained regular communication with the Council. Not demands or threats, but simple diplomatic messages offering continued dialogue. "Put her through." Admiral Chen's image appeared on the display. She looked the same as always, calm, professional, completely confident. Behind her, the command center of the human flagship showed busy activity. "Council Leader Yothram, Dr. Yilmoth. Thank you for accepting the communication. Admiral Chen, Yothram replied wearily. I assume you're calling about the Velkari situation. Actually, no. The Velkari Collective is perfectly capable of making their own decisions. I'm calling about something else. She paused, and for the first time in months, Yothram detected something other than confidence in her voice. We've detected Council military movements in the Outer Rim sectors. Ships gathering near systems that have requested to withdraw from Council membership. The Council has the right to maintain order in our territory, Yothram replied automatically. Council leader. With respect, those systems are no longer your territory. They've formally withdrawn. Any military action against them would be an act of war. Dr. Yilmoth stepped forward. Admiral, surely you understand our position. We cannot simply allow the dissolution of galactic civilization. Admiral Chen's expression hardened. Doctor, with respect, civilization isn't something you can force on people. Real civilization is what people choose to build together. She gestured off camera, and the display split to show multiple views. Each one showed human ships positioned near systems that had withdrawn from the Council. These are not invasion fleets, Council leader. These are protection details. Every species that has chosen independence now has human guarantees of security. You cannot protect them all, Yothram said quietly. We don't have to, Admiral Chen replied. Most of them can protect themselves now. We've shared our technology freely with every species in the Alliance. The galaxy is full of people who know how to build weapons that can stop your ships. She leaned forward, and her voice became more serious. Council leader, I want to be very clear about something. The Free Systems Alliance is not your enemy. We have no interest in conquering Council space or overthrowing your government. Many of your member species are genuinely happy with Council membership, and that's their choice to make. Then what do you want? We want you to honor the choices others are making. Stop trying to force species back into membership. Stop economic warfare against independent systems. Stop treating withdrawal requests as rebellion. Admiral Chen stood up from her chair. Council leader, you have a choice. You can accept that the galaxy has changed and work with us to build a new era of genuine cooperation, or you can continue fighting for an empire that no longer exists. And if we choose to fight? Admiral Chen's expression didn't change, but the temperature in the room seemed to drop. Then you'll lose. Again. And this time, we won't be so gentle about it. The transmission ended, leaving Yothram and Dr. Yilmoth alone with their thoughts. What do we do, Council leader? Dr. Yilmoth asked. Yothram looked out at the nearly empty space around Concordia Prime. The great station that had once been the center of galactic civilization now felt like a monument to a dead empire. We adapt, he said finally. Order all military units to stand down. Send messages to the remaining member species that we will respect any decision they make about their membership. Sir, the humans are right, Doctor. We built an empire, not a civilization. Empires always fall eventually. Perhaps it's time to try building something better. Dr. Yilmoth nodded slowly. And what will that look like? Yothram turned back to his window. In the distance, he could see the lights of human ships patrolling the space lanes, keeping the peace without ruling, protecting without conquering. I don't know, he admitted, but for the first time in 300 years, I think we're about to find out what voluntary cooperation actually looks like. 3 years later, Council leader Yothram stood in the same chamber, looking out at a very different view. The space around Concordia Prime was busy again, filled with ships from dozens of species, but these ships came and went freely. No one was forced to be there. The Galactic Council still existed, but as something completely different. They had become a forum for cooperation, rather than an instrument of control. Species joined, or left, as they chose. Decisions were made by consensus, not by force. The Free Systems Alliance had grown to include over 500 independent systems, but it too remained voluntary. Species could leave without consequences, trade with whoever they chose, and govern themselves however they wished. Admiral Chen visited Concordia Prime regularly now. Not as a conqueror, but as a diplomat. She and Yothram had developed what could almost be called a friendship. The galaxy is larger than any of us imagined, she had told him during their last meeting. Large enough for the Council's way of life, and large enough for those who choose something different. The universe is big enough for everyone. As Yothram watched the ships coming and going from his window, he reflected on how much had changed. For the first time in galactic history, the cosmos was truly at peace. Not the peace of submission, but the peace of choice. Humanity had done something no species before them had accomplished. They had said no to an empire, and made it stick. More than that, they had shown the galaxy that there was another way to live. The age of forced unity was over. The age of chosen cooperation had begun, and for the first time in 300 years, every species in the galaxy was truly free to determine its own destiny.